as we may be stalled on this problem here in the next couple. Well, let me take a look here.
Yeah, adjusted gross income, you add up the student loan interest, retirement, and mortgage, and then you subtract that by your gross income, and then you should get your adjusted gross income.
Okay, if you say so, because I have no idea.
So,
Truly,
yeah,
I couldn't tell you. So because the taxable income is not the same as
that's
your adjusted gross income, you're supposed to then
right,
take out a deduction. But in this case, this person's single.
right.
I tend to think that you would actually like subtract all this out for your adjusted gross income, and then we would remove the deduction from here. That's where I'm not sure, and then we'd use that table again for
Well, I think what it's doing. So the adjusted gross income is like your stuff. It's not going to be like the states, and then the taxable income is going to be more like the states or like things that you're just doing optionally. Like property tax is going to be for the state, and then charity donation is going to be something that you're doing. And then you have the state income tax. So then you add that up and then you subtract that from, or sorry, you take your adjusted gross income, subtract that by one, multiply that by everybody who's in your house, and then you'd multiply that by 4,350, which would be the exemptions per person. And then you add up your deductions. That's how you get your itemized and your standard. And then that's how you would get your taxable income, I want to say.
not sure. Now remember that this was programmed by someone just using these numbers. I mean that
Right.
so I mean I don't I mean I'm not disagreeing with anything you said. It does sound reasonable, but I don't know where I don't know if charity donations affects it would not affect your
Mm.
adjusted gross income. It would affect your taxable income. Um, this one dependent means you're
Um,
also removing some things. What I'm
right.
suggesting, and I don't know I don't know if you want to go down this route. It's almost like I'm suggesting we need like to guess through this one, get the numbers, and then figure out how they got the numbers, and then work it again.
Well, I'm going off of my notes up here.
Okay.
And like you can, and if you look at the one that I sent you, it has adjustments and deductions, and it tells you like what ones are like adjustments and deductions. And for adjustments, it's
Oh, there it is.
tax,
Yeah,
yeah, like
there it
the like
is.
retirement, your student loans, and like your health savings if you're a teacher, I want to say. I don't know what a lot alimony payments are. What are, you know?
Adjusted gross income, exemptions plus deductions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Adjusted gross income, just as the adjustments. Okay, so the only thing that's going to affect the you just said this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the adjusted gross income is going down by just the student loan interest. Is that what you said?
So the adjusted gross is going to be added up by student loan, retirement, and mortgage, and then you're going to subtract that by the salary, which we got
So
91,123.
so what I'm seeing though is that's a deduction. Mortgage interest
Yeah.
is typically a deduction. So the line here, sorry, it's right here.
Mm,
So I'm suggesting that you're going to subtract 4,354 for the adjusted gross income.
yeah,
The
I
taxable
just saw
income
that
is,
it said interest.
yeah, the taxable and is the taxable income is deducted by oh, I'm sorry. The retirement contributions also count. It should say pre-tax, but that's okay. Minus 10,776. And then the mortgage interest, yeah, you've got that property tax there, charitable donations there, state income tax. Yeah, okay. So I think we've got it here enough to at least get some numbers going. All right, minus. All right, so I got, and maybe this is what you said already. I apologize. I just haven't been hearing you very well today. $75,993 for the adjusted gross income. And then we're going to take that amount, subtract out the mortgage interest and the property tax and the charitable donation and the state income tax. And since this is greater than the standard deduction, but there is one dependent, so I think that that also comes into play.
So then it'd be like two people. So you'd multiply it by two.
The dependent is only the only comes that it'd be like one child is what they're saying. That's
Yeah.
one dependent. So I count it as only one. If you had two children, then it would be two. It would say two
Hmm.
dependents. This is again kind of a guess because I really don't know how they actually do all this, but
Yeah. Um,
50 minus 410. All right, so 56,953. And if that's right, then the income tax owed for a single is down here. You know, this calculation is based on all the previous ones. So it's 10% of 11,000. And then your income, 56,953 is in this third grouping of numbers between 44,000 95,000. So we're paying 12% on 44,725 minus 11,000. And then we're similarly paying this time 20%, but it's on 56,953 minus 44,725, like that. And we would add those up for that last box there.
so total I got 7,837 and 16 cents.
Okay, sounds right to me. All right. So I guess that will you'll find out here in a moment. We did.
Nope. If you're not right, then what do we do wrong?
I can't tell you. We almost need the answers to know what they are or are not counting as the only thing I guess one thing could be let me just double check here. Uh they might have used the standard deduction instead of
Mm-hmm.
this because um I don't know if this one 2514 gets counted towards the standard deduction.
Mm-hmm.
That changes all the other calculations. So what I'm suggesting is instead of these three numbers here, the standard deduction of this is a single, right? Yeah, single would be 13,850.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, hmm. So yeah, it kind of looks to me like actually these, yeah, I mean these definitely don't make that. I don't know if the state income tax counts towards the standard deduction. Looks like it does because it's so it's actually no, that this would be greater than that. That's 13. Yeah. So I don't,
Well,
is this not,
wouldn't I subtract so hold on, wait, wouldn't I just add 4,000 by 10,000 and then subtract that by 91,000?
no, the taxable income is where you adjust for uh exemptions and deductions. But you don't take both. Like you either itemize, which is what's going on here. This is itemized, or you do this. Now, I don't know if like what I don't know is whether the it's better like if this yeah, I mean it could be that it's this number and this number. These numbers don't the itemized don't exceed this number, 13,850, but they do exceed this number, but they don't exceed the standard deduction plus the exemption per person, like these two together.
Okay.
And I don't know. I mean, we could try it. So the way to try it is you take this number, 75,993, and subtract these two numbers
Mm-hmm.
and see if that's right. And then it changes all these other calculations. It just changed this last one though. We could try that if you want.
Um,
Were the first two correct?
the first one was correct. The three were wrong. The last three were
Okay,
wrong.
well that's bad because that means we don't have this right. So adjusted gross income
Mhm.
is now again, this retirement contribution is what we don't know whether it's pre-tax or post because it doesn't say. So we're subtracting it out, but it might not be if it's not pre-tax, which we don't know. Um, so all we know is for sure is student loan interest is there. We know it's that. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. We need a few like example problems to know how they're doing it.
Okay. I can honestly just like go into my teacher during like her office hours and like figure it out. And then yeah, I have my chemistry exam tomorrow, so we can just go on to chemistry.
Okay. Seven is very similar to that.
Okay. All
Okay.
good.
So chemistry here, there are a lot of problems here that are
Yeah.
not numerical. So some of them like a question like number one, um, you would want to not use my services necessarily for. But for example, a problem like four is a pure math. Let me So that's my question to you. Did you want us to go through all of these, just the numerical problems?
So I want to go through the ones that like they like have to have equations, and I want to start at on like chapter one. I think that's or chapter two. I think that's chapter four right there that you have up.
Okay. Uh, so how about what's the first? Is it this one? Like how many miles are there in centimeters?
Yeah,
Or these mega, kilo?
yeah, it was like the conversions.
Okay. All right. Write the definition, symbols, and values for the following SI unit prefixes. Okay. So I don't know the
No,
symbol,
that one's okay. It's
but you can
okay.
look
We
like these are
find
all, yeah, you can look at all these. The main ones here are like this is 10 to the minus 6, 10 to the minus 9.
can we do number three?
Yes, we can get number 3. All right. How many miles are there in 3.45 times 10 to the 20th centimeters? This is a lot like those questions we were doing the last few times we met.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on the conversion that you're using. Like you can go centimeters to inches. You can also go like kilometers to miles. Do you get a conversion sheet for your exam?
Yeah, I want to say we do.
Okay, it might be good to know what that is before uh, like starting to do these problems because it will affect how you do them. Uh, so that's 1 inch. There are, inches now go to feet, 12 inches in 1 foot, and then feet go to miles, 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So you gotta, on the top here, you're multiplying by 1 each time, doesn't change. But on the bottom here, you're dividing. Right. So I get 2.14 times 10 to the 20th miles.
Um, I get it, but I don't get it because it's in scientific notation and I'm confused.
Now, remember, you always put the unit that's on top on the bottom, and you just keep going until you get it into the unit that you're looking for, which is in this case miles.
Right. So do hold on. I don't understand how you got 2.14.
Oh, that's a known conversion, and you'll see that in the next problem, 2.54. That's just a
No,
no.
2.14 times 10 to the 20th. I don't understand
Oh,
how you
you
got
just it's the top number divided by the all of these on the bottom. You have to multiply all the numbers on the bottom, and then you're dividing.
I did that and I got 4.6.
Did you have to put parentheses around this? Your choices here are either to multiply everything on the top and then multiplying everything on the bottom and then divide. So you get like a top and a bottom, or you're dividing by each of these values. Now let me check my calculation. 3.45 times 10 to the 25th, 2.54, 12. Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty confident in this result here. Um, the other way, like if you're using a standard calculator, the other way you can do it.
Now I
eh,
got it.
eh, Okay. You will typically see a couple of conversions on, your first test in chemistry.
Yeah. I have it. I have chapter 2 to 4. questions in my exam tomorrow. I cannot wait.
Yeah. How many meters are there in 89 inches? So you start with the given quantity, 89 inches. Inches to something else. They're suggesting centimeters. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. Centimeters to meters. There are 100 centimeters in one meter. Right, and then so just like before, either multiply the top, multiply the bottom, but make sure you get to your final answer there.
2.26 meters.
That sounds right. Yeah, 2.26. Make sure you have the units in your final answer. That's number 5. How many feet are there in 75 meters? You start with the given quantity. So we go meters to centimeters. And then we can use the previous conversion, centimeters to inches. Double check that all your top and bottoms cancel and you're left with the one you want in the top.
Inches. And do you have some feet? Great. We only got the inches. We need to get feet.
Yeah, we need to keep going. That's right. So there are 12 inches in 1 foot.
Two hundred and 46 inches.
Yeah, feet, feet, that's good. Okay. All right, number 6. So what temperature is 690 degrees C? So temperature in Kelvin is the temperature in Celsius plus 273.15. Some books don't have the 0.15. So you have 690 here. So you're just adding it.
263.
Make sure you put your units in at the end. All right, so the next I mean I could help with the non-numerical ones, but I'm assuming you're asking for my help for the ones that are number related. Um, 3 is the next one here. This is on second assignment. Is this okay to go to, or do you have something else you want us to look at?
This is okay.
This is okay. I'm sorry, I'm still not hearing you very
Yeah,
well. You sound okay.
this is okay. We're trying to find density.
Yes, density. So
So
density,
what is it? Is it mass over volume? Yeah.
you got to make sure the units are right, meaning like it's grams, mass is in grams, volume could be in centimeters cubed or milliliters. Sometimes they give them to you in the wrong quantities, wrong units, and you have to adjust.
Mhm. I got 11.28.
Okay, good. All right, number four is uh it's Celsius to Fahrenheit, Fahrenheit to Celsius. You actually had some conversions in your from your, I guess, your math class that were pretty good here. Let me see if I can go find that. You had a pretty good conversion. You had both equations on one.
Yeah, I did.
There it is. I think you had both equations there. Yeah. That's again why I asked, do you get a reference sheet? Because if you do, you have to look them up. If you don't, well, you gotta somehow remember them for the exam. So
Right.
that now, actually, I take that back. Driving to the grocery store, you notice the temperature is 45 degrees C. Determine what the temperature is of Fahrenheit scale. Yeah, so we're gonna use this first one. F equals 1.8 times 45 plus 32.
It should be 113.
Yeah, and for us that we for other people around the country, they may not think they might think that's really hot. For us, that's just July. That's normal.
Right?
And yeah, what season of the year might it be? Well,
Summer.
they're hot, hotter, hottest. I think that's what we have. The you have you had a test or quiz from this teacher yet? Or is this
Uh, it's tomorrow.
okay? So you don't have a feel for whether they're multiple choice or free response
Yes,
or
they are multiple choice actually.
okay.
So I'll have like a guessing range.
Yeah, it could be good or bad depending on how clever they are with their
Right.
things. So all right. Number six is a numerical question here. All right, if you hold gallium metal in your hand, it melts from your body heat. How much heat must a 2.5 gram of gallium absorb from your hand to raise temperature of gallium 25 degrees C to 29.9 degrees C, specific heat, yeah, it's given of
I
gallium,
was
right?
just using specific heat.
Yeah, so there's some sort of equation here, which is like mass
It's like
times,
Q times specific heat times delta T
yeah. So you got all the quantities here, and I don't remember if it's in grams or kilograms. It is in grams. So 2.5. Now,
times
the change,
4.1 would be two.
yeah, you got to be careful with your change. Sometimes it can be negative.
Four 4.9 for the degrees.
I got 4.557 joules. Is that okay?
I'm doing it in my, I did it a
Okay.
little bit differently. I did not get that. Okay, hold on. Specific key is for, we're not using specific key.
We
We are
are.
using
We're using the 0.372.
right, but we're not using like specific heat, like 4.1 would be for specific heat.
That's for water. They
Yeah.
have to give you the material of it.
All right, now
Okay, nice. Okay, so number seven is another numerical problem here. So uh, they say it's an unknown metal, absorbs heat, and there's a change in temperature, and they want you to calculate the specific heat. So your energy equals, I don't know exactly what the formula is. It's M delta T, change in temperature times this specific heat of the material. This time it's 58 equals, now this is in kilograms, which is the wrong units. That's what I mentioned before. Sometimes you have to adjust. So 0.0280 kilograms times kilograms to grams. There's 1,000 kilograms in 1 gram, which means it's not very much um, in terms of its grams, but that's okay. 0.000. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is
Oh,
completely wrong.
wait. Oh, wait, no,
Sorry.
are you dividing
It's
or?
yeah. It's 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. Like that doesn't look right. Yeah, that's not gonna be right. So 28 grams. Change in temperature 39.9 minus 31.1 times the specific heat. So you have your choice. You can either calculate these numbers on the right, multiply them, or you can just do the whole calculation at once. If you do it all in once, just be really careful about your parentheses, meaning that you need them around the bottom as well. You need like an extra set there around the bottom.
Oh, whoa.
Any questions on that?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I'm not getting that answer.
Most likely just an issue with parentheses. You have to maybe just calculate this number, 28 times 39.9 minus 31.1,
Mm,
get that number and then divide.
okay. Well, no, no, I got that.
Okay. All right, number 8 is yet another one of these calculations. So whenever you see a bunch of problems like this, you should say to yourself, I'm going to get a couple like this on my test. So I shouldn't be all that surprised by it. All right, how much energy is lost when a sample of iron of mass 25.7 grams cools from 75 to 22? So it's always like the way we've been doing the subtraction is it's always turned out positive, but it's always I don't know, like the new minus the old is the delta T. So the
Mm-hmm.
new temperature here is it's 22 minus 75, which is negative. So when your energy is negative, that means it's lost.
But I thought we would do it like 25. I thought we would do 75 minus 25.7. That's how we always set it up in class.
Well, the difference again is it's the new minus the old. The new is the 25. The old is the 75. What it started at is considered the old. If you go back to the previous problem, the new temperature and the old temperature, the new one happened to be larger, but it doesn't always have to be that way. You don't want to look at it as because what'll happen is you get a question on the test and it'll have like two answers. It'll have like, is the answer, you know, negative 60 joules or is it positive 60 joules? And you won't know which one it is because you'll
Right.
be guessing. It So if you think of it as new minus old, it will give you the correct sign. If you don't want to think about that, you have to remember that when you lose energy, it's negative, and if it gains energy, it's positive.
Right.
These are just conventions. It's like we think of the lights being on as positive, lights being off as negative, or North Pole, South Pole, stuff like that.
We got negative 611.58.
So yeah, negative 612 joules, or you would say loses 612 joules. That's another way they could say it. It could say like in the multiple choice, it could be like loses or gains. Those are like some ways that you might say it. All right. On the next set of questions here, 4 and 5 are the only ones that we can do. So let's do this. Do this 4. All right. All right. So they're telling you like there's a lot of information you don't care about. Like these are the two numbers. These are the two things that you care about. These two. And all we're doing in this problem is what's called a weighted average. And a weighted average is percent times amount plus percent times amount plus percent times amount. Okay. And that's it. Okay. So in your problem, it's 74.2%, but we're going to convert these to decimals, 0.742, 0.1515, 0.1065. So it's 0.742 times 39.962 plus
Okay.
0.1515 times 37.963 plus 0.1065 times 35.968.
We got 39.23.
Oh, did you do it all together? It's even better if you did it all together. Yeah. So 30, it ends up being 39.23 AMUs. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. Number 5 is actually slightly easier. There's only two of these. There's not 3 like the previous one, but it's still percentage times amount, plus percentage times amount until you run out of amounts or percentages. So 30% 0.3 times 6.015, 0.7 times 7.016. With some reasonableness, you know that the number is going to be a little bit closer to 7 than 6, but it'll be probably somewhere around 6.6, we'll say, but we'll do the calculation. 6.7157 AMU.
All right. So that takes us through everything you sent over. I mean, we got a little time left here. Some other stuff you'd like to cover?
No, I think that's pretty much it, honestly.
Okay. What's your plan between now and tomorrow to get prepared for the chemistry test?
Well, tonight I'm just gonna be going over like all of the stuff that we have on Pearson and like doing some more equations probably. And then
Okay.
I'm gonna be going over like my flashcards for it. And then I'm gonna
Ec-
do the same tomorrow also, like
Excellent. Good.
before
Good.
it.
That is a good plan. That will work. All right. Anything else you want us to cover today before we close out?
I think we've pretty much covered the things that I've been like a little stuck on.